Good morning, students. Today we're going to go over 5.4H, which is represent and solve problems involving area and perimeter. So to begin with, I want to start with our vocabulary. So, perimeter. One thing I want to remind you is that perimeter starts with the letter P. So you should think perimeter plus. So you're gonna add. Now you should know that perimeter is where you add up all the sides, right? So you have to go all the way around. So just like I told you in my class, when you build a gate, you want to build it all the way around your property. If you leave a side missing, then someone can go into your property. So that's why you go all the way around. All right? So, perimeter plus. Vocabulary words associated with perimeter are the words around, words like a fence. When you hear a fence in the problem, more than likely you're working with perimeter. When you're going outside of your garden, also if you're including a border around something, that is perimeter. You're going all the way around. Okay, now perimeter, you're in 5th grade, so it's not going to come that easy. They're not going to just tell you to find the perimeter of a shape unless it's like a really complicated shape. More than likely they're going to be working with rectangles and squares. So for example, I have a perimeter of 50 inches, it could be. Okay, so one thing that I always recommend is that you draw in your figure. If they don't give you a model, you have to draw it in. It has to be a representation on your paper. So they tell you that the perimeter is 50 inches and that the width is 10 and 8/10. Okay, notice you have to label all of your sides. So if this side is 10 and 8/10, then that means that this side should also be 10 and 8/10. Opposite sides are congruent. Okay, now they want you to find the length, missing length. Since you're working with perimeter, you need to find one. So you know that you need to add them all up, right? So you already have 2 sides. So let's go ahead and figure out how much we have in total as of now. So then I would have to add 10 and 8/10 and 10 and 8/10. You have decimals, so you have to line them up. Here are my 2 decimals, and I'm going to go ahead and fill them in. My whole numbers first, and then I do the decimal part. Okay, and I have to start on the right corner or the right side. 8 plus 8 would be 16. Carrier 1. 0 plus 0 plus 1 is 1. And then 1 plus 1 is 2. So I have 21 and 6/10. That's my total for both sides. Okay. So now width plus width gave me 21 and 6/10. Now, how do I find the length? Well, I'm missing pieces, right? So I would have to subtract this from the top, from the whole total, right? And to show you this, I want to do a bar model just so that you can see that better. So I know that my total is 50 inches, right? And I know that one side is 10 and 6 6/10. 10 and 6/10. And I'm still missing 2 pieces. Now you know that when I have missing pieces in a bar model, I usually have to subtract, okay? So first, I did the first part already. I've already added both sides, and that gave me 21 and 6/10, okay? So I'm gonna write that in there. So now I can go ahead and subtract. I'm gonna go ahead and erase my math on this side so I can have a little bit more space. I'm used to this a little board. So then I'm gonna do 50. If you notice, you have a decimal, and 50 doesn't have a decimal. It's there, but you can't see it. So I always tell my students that if you have a decimal, you have a whole number, where does your decimal go? And then they'll give me some answers, like maybe in the front, maybe in the middle. Some will tell me in the back. So I ask you, if you ask your mom for $50, where would the decimal go? Well, if you put it in the front, do you get $50? No, you get 50 cents. Just complete opposite of what you want, right? If you put the decimal in the middle, of course you would add another 0. What do you get? You get $5. I don't want $5, I want $50. So the decimal has to go in the back. Now you can line up what you have for the 21 and 6/10. Okay. Can you take 6 away from 0? If I have 0 apples, I can't take away 6. So I'm going to go ahead and borrow from this 5. Okay, I can't borrow from the 0 because I don't have anything there. So this 5 becomes a 4. And I always take my time regrouping. So where does this 1 go? Well, it would go here. So it's go next door and get 10 more. So 10 plus 0 would give you 10, right? And now I can regroup from this 10. So then this 10 becomes a 9. And this finally becomes a 10. So now I can take away 10 minus 6 would give me a 4. Now your decimal. 1 minus 9. Actually, 9 minus 1, I'm sorry. So that would give you 8. And then 4 minus 2 would give you 2. So you got 28 and 4/10. Now I need to split this up into 2 because I only want 1, right? And this is the total for both of them. So then how do you split it up? Splitting up would already tell you that you need to divide. So then, let me erase a little bit more things over here. So you do 28 and 4/10 divided by 2. What happens to your decimal? Well, your decimal rises up to the top. How many groups of 2 can you make from 2? Well, that's 1 group, right? You have 2, that's 1 group. So how many groups of 2 can you make out of 8? That'll give you 4. Bring down your 8. Give you 4. So 2 times 4 will give you 8. Subtract that out. It's really tiny, sorry. And bring down your 4. How many times can 2 go into 4? Well, that's another 2. So one side would give you 14 and 2/10. So the length is 14 and 2/10. Now, if you want to go ahead and check it, which you should, I'm going to erase all this extra math so you won't be bombarded with a lot of information. To check my math, all I have to do is add up all the sides. So then I line up my decimals because now I have 4 numbers, right? Now I can fill them in. Now, you can make groups of 10 already. 8 plus 2 equals 10. 8 plus another 2 equals 10. So 10 plus 10 is what? 20. So then, carry your 2. 4 plus 4? 4 plus 4 is 8. 8 plus 2 is 10. Carry your 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. There go your $50. See that? So our perimeter is correct. Now remember, you're in 5th grade. They're not going to tell you just to find the perimeter. There's more steps to it. You will have multi-steps. Now, let's go ahead and talk about area. Area is all about the inside. Okay? Area. You know area equals length times width. That is the formula for area. Now, usually words associated with this is the inside. And I'm going to do it really, really big so that you remember this. The inside. Alright? Now, things associated with the inside are things like tile, carpet. People in the story or your problem are probably painting. Right? Because when you paint all the way inside the wall. Alright? So it tells you they want to cover the floor. Usually it has to do something with flooring. Okay? That's area. Now, this is just vocabulary associated with this. Things that you will see in the problem. Sorry. Things that you'll see in the problem that will hint at area. Okay? Now, again, you're in 5th grade. It's a multi-step. They won't tell you area. Just find the area of such and such place. Usually they'll tell you to compare it. So you'll see things like how much more and then blank than, or how much more blank greater than. So they'll tell you things like how much more is the perimeter of the playground, the area, I'm sorry, how much more the area of the playground than the area of the zoo, or how much greater than is the perimeter of the school than the area of the house. Okay, so that's comparing. Where you're comparing, you need to subtract. Okay, so you find your regular areas, and at the end you need to subtract. Remember, these are multi-steps. They will not be just multiplication and that's it. Now you also have to remember the word combined. The word combined will tell you to add. Combined, add. So aside from finding either the perimeter or the area, if they want you to combine them, then they want you to add. Okay? So if you're putting floor in your living room and the kitchen, say you're putting tile in there, you need to combine the two to put them together, okay? All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and do the area for, let's say, a bedroom. They say they want to put tile in there, and the area for the room is 120 square feet. Now, I know the whole room already has the area of 120 square feet, okay? So you should already be thinking, hey, I need a model, or I need to draw it in, all right? Excuse my shape is a little loopy. So I know that the area is 120 square feet. Okay. Now I know that the width is 10 feet. Okay. Every time you have anything associated with area, perimeter, or volume will be tomorrow. You need to write the formula. It needs to be in your paper. So I know that the formula for area equals length times width. Length times width. Yes, I know it's small. So I know that when I multiply 10 times something, it should equal to 120, correct? So then I always put a little X at the corner because I know that I have to multiply this number by something else to get to this, right? So then, what's the opposite of multiplication? Well, it should be division, right? So then I will do 120, and I'm going to divide it out by 10. Remember that fractions, this bar right here in the middle, also means divide. I did it this way to remind you about that little bar right there. So now, I know that if I divide 120 divided by 10, I should be able to get my width. Oops, sorry. So how many groups of 10 can I make from 1? The first one? Nothing, right? So it becomes 0. How many groups of 10 can I make from 12? I can make 1 group. So 10 times 1 would give me 10. Bring down your 2. Bring down your 0. How many groups of 10 can I make from 20? Well, that'll be 2 groups. So then my length should be what? 12. And how do I know? Well, you should be able to check, right? And I know that 10 times 12 equals 120. So I am correct. Okay? All right, you guys, please make sure that you line up your decimals. And if you have fractions, you think about money. If you want to convert them over to decimals, that is very, very important. For your assignment, I want you to work on pages 230 to 235. You can go ahead and skip 234. Please make sure that you're showing all your work, all your strategies. If you need a model, go ahead and put it in there because I will ask for it. All right, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you hopefully very, very soon. Miss you guys. All right, bye-bye.